There's a reason this message found you right now, in this exact moment of your existence. Not tomorrow, not last week, but precisely now. Your consciousness has been operating under a fundamental misunderstanding that's been creating your reality in reverse, manifesting the exact opposite of what you consciously desire. And what I'm about to reveal will either liberate you completely or disturb you so deeply that you'll close this video within the next 60 seconds. Either way, something irreversible has already begun. You see, there are millions of people scrolling through content right now, but only a specific frequency of consciousness would stop here, would feel the magnetic pull of these words, would sense that something true is about to be transmitted. Your quantum field has been preparing for this recognition through every struggle, every repeated pattern, every moment where you felt trapped in cycles you couldn't break. This isn't coincidence. This is quantum resonance, operating at the level of your soul's architecture. What I'm about to show you contradicts everything you've been taught about manifestation, about positive thinking, about how to create the life you want. The spiritual teachers told you to raise your vibration, to focus on what you want, to resist negativity. And you tried. You really tried. You affirmed. You visualized. You held the vision. But here's what they didn't tell you. What they couldn't tell you because most of them don't understand the quantum mechanics of consciousness itself. Every single thing you resist, you are actively creating more of. Let that land in your awareness for a moment. Feel the recognition moving through your nervous system. This isn't just philosophy. This is the fundamental operating principle of how consciousness interfaces with the quantum field to collapse probability waves into experienced reality. Right now, as you're reading these words, your brain is processing information at 120 milliseconds per recognition. But something deeper is happening. Your cellular memory is beginning to vibrate at a frequency that knows this truth, that's always known this truth, that's been trying to show you this paradox through every experience, where fighting something made it stronger, where pushing against something gave it more power in your life. Chapter 1: The Quantum Architecture of Resistance. Let me show you how this works at the most fundamental level. In quantum physics, there's a principle called the observer effect. The act of observation collapses the quantum field from infinite possibilities into one specific experience. But here's what changes everything. The quality of your observation determines what collapses. When you resist something, when you push against it, when you fight it, when you say, "I don't want this in my life," you are not pushing it away. You are observing it with intense focus. You are giving it your attention, your energy, your electromagnetic coherence, and consciousness, operating as the ultimate creative force, doesn't hear the words, "I don't want." It only registers the frequency of what you're focused on. Think about your life right now. What have you been resisting most intensely? Financial struggle? Loneliness? Health issues? Difficult relationships? Anxiety? Whatever it is, I want you to notice something that will shock you once you see it clearly. The harder you've fought against it, the more persistent it's become. This isn't because the universe is punishing you. This is because resistance is creation in disguise. Your consciousness operates like a quantum transmitter. Every thought, every emotion, every focus of attention broadcasts a specific frequency into the unified field. When you resist something, you're not broadcasting, "I want freedom from this." You're broadcasting the exact frequency of the thing itself, wrapped in the emotion of fear, wrapped in the energy of struggle, wrapped in the vibration of lack. The quantum field doesn't interpret meaning. It responds to frequency. When you resist financial struggle with fear and anxiety, you're literally tuning your consciousness to the frequency of financial struggle. The fear, the anxiety, the constant thinking about not having enough, all of that is observing scarcity with such intensity that you collapse more scarcity into your experience. Practical application 1. The resistance inventory. Stop reading for a moment. Get a piece of paper or open a note on your phone. I want you to complete this sentence 5 times, writing quickly without editing. What I resist most in my life right now is, write 5 answers. Don't think. Just write what comes. Now look at your list. These 5 things are not problems you need to solve. They are frequency patterns you've been strengthening through resistance. Each one represents an area where your consciousness has been collapsed into dense observation, where you've been unknowingly creating more of what you don't want by focusing intensely on not wanting it. This recognition alone begins to shift something. You're starting to see the mechanism. You're beginning to understand that you haven't been a victim of these patterns. You've been their unconscious creator through the quantum mechanics of resistance. Chapter 2. The Acceptance Paradox. Now here's where it gets even more paradoxical, even more counterintuitive to everything you've been taught. What you fully accept begins to dissolve. Not because acceptance is giving up, not because acceptance means you like something or want it to stay. Acceptance dissolves things because acceptance stops the observation that was collapsing that reality into form. When you truly accept something, you stop resisting it, which means you stop giving it the intense, focused attention that was creating it. Let me be very clear about what acceptance means in this quantum context, because most people misunderstand it completely. Acceptance is not liking something, wanting it to continue, being passive about changing it, giving up or surrendering to suffering, spiritual bypassing or pretending everything is fine. True quantum acceptance is recognizing what is, without adding resistance energy to it. It's seeing reality clearly, without the emotional charge that keeps collapsing more of the same reality. It's observing from presence, rather than from reaction. Here's a practical example that will make this clear. Imagine you have chronic anxiety. The anxiety shows up in your chest, tightness, racing thoughts. Now, the typical approach is to resist it. I hate this feeling. I need to get rid of this. Why is this happening to me? I just want to feel normal. Every single one of those thoughts is resistance. Every single one is intense observation of the anxiety. Every single one is collapsing more anxiety into your field because you're tuning your consciousness to the frequency of anxiety while simultaneously creating emotional charge around. Now, watch what happens with acceptance. The anxiety appears in your chest. Instead of fighting it, you simply notice it. There's tightness in my chest. There are racing thoughts. This is what's present right now. No judgment. No story about what it means. No fear of it continuing. Just clear observation without resistance. What happens? The anxiety begins to dissolve. Not because you wanted it to dissolve, that would be resistance disguised as acceptance. It dissolves because you stopped feeding it the electromagnetic energy of resistance that was keeping it stable in your field. Practical application 2. The dissolution practice. Choose one thing from your resistance list. Something that's been persistent in your life. Now we're going to practice quantum acceptance. First, locate where you feel this pattern in your body. Anxiety might be in your chest. Financial stress might be in your solar plexus. Loneliness might be in your heart. Just notice where the sensation lives. Now, instead of trying to change it or get rid of it, simply observe it with curiosity. What's the actual sensation? Tightness, heaviness, pressure, emptiness. What's the temperature? Hot, cold, neutral. What's the texture? Sharp, dull, pulsing, steady. As you observe without resistance, without trying to make it different, notice what happens. For most people, within 30 to 60 seconds, the sensation begins to shift, move, or dissolve. This is quantum acceptance in action. Practice this every time the pattern appears. Don't try to make it dissolve, that's resistance. Just observe it clearly, describe it accurately, allow it to be exactly what it is. You're learning to change your relationship from resistant observer to neutral witness. Chapter 3. The Creation Mechanism. Now I need to show you something that will fundamentally change how you understand reality creation. Most manifestation teachings tell you to focus on what you want, to visualize the desired outcome, to feel the feelings of having it. And there's truth in that, but only partial truth. What they're missing is the resistance component. When you visualize having abundance while simultaneously resisting your current financial situation, you create what I call quantum static contradictory frequencies, broadcasting simultaneously. Your consciousness is split between two observations: the desired reality you're visualizing and the unwanted reality you're resisting. Guess which one has more electromagnetic charge? the one you're resisting, because resistance creates intense emotional energy. This is why so many people practice manifestation techniques and nothing changes. They're visualizing abundance for 5 minutes a day while resisting scarcity for the other 23 hours and 55 minutes. The resistance frequency is far stronger, far more consistent, far more emotionally charged. So that's what keeps collapsing into experience. The quantum field doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to what you are. And what you are is determined by where your consciousness consistently focuses its observation and what quality of energy accompanies that observation. Here's the revolutionary shift. Instead of trying to manifest what you want while resisting what you have, you accept what you have, which begins to dissolve it, and simultaneously become the frequency of what you want, which begins to create it. No resistance, no split consciousness. Just clear, coherent frequency transmission. Let me show you exactly how this works in practice with a real example. Let's say you want abundant financial flow, but you're currently struggling with debt. The old approach would be, resist the debt creates more debt frequency. Visualize abundance creates split consciousness. Affirm wealth while feeling poor, creating quantum static. The quantum approach is completely different. First, accept the debt. Not like it, not want it to stay, but simply recognize it without emotional static charge. There is currently $10,000 of debt in my field. This is what's present. This is what is. Feel how different that is from, I hate this debt. I need to get rid of this debt. Why do I have this debt? Acceptance stops the creation of more debt through resistance. But acceptance alone doesn't create abundance. It just stops creating more lack. Second, you become the frequency of financial flow, not through visualization or affirmation, but through embodiment. You start asking, how does someone with abundant financial flow move through the world? How do they make decisions? How do they relate to money? What does their energy feel like? And then you begin to embody those qualities now, regardless of your current bank account. This isn't pretending or denying reality. This is consciously choosing which frequency pattern you're going to broadcast through your quantum field. Practical application 3. The embodiment process. Choose something you genuinely want to create or experience. Not just more money, but something specific. I want to experience the frequency of being financially free and creatively expressed. Step 1. Write out exactly what you want in one clear sentence. Step 2. Complete this sentence. Someone who has this would feel. List 5 to 7 feelings, not visualizations, but actual felt states. Examples: peaceful, confident, creative, generous, spacious, grounded, playful. Step 3. Choose one feeling from your list. Right now, in this moment, generate that feeling in your body, not because you have the external thing, but because you choose to embody that frequency now. If you chose peaceful, what does peace feel like in your chest, your shoulders, your breath? If you chose confident, what does confidence feel like in your posture, your voice, your movement? Step 4. Practice embodying this feeling for 5 minutes every day. Not as a technique to get something, but as a practice of becoming the frequency of what you want. You're training your consciousness to broadcast a new pattern. This is how you create without resistance. You accept what is stops, creating more of what you don't want, and embody what you're becoming, starts creating what you do want. Chapter 4. The shadow resistance. Now we need to go deeper, because there's a level of resistance that most people never see, never acknowledge, never address. And this hidden resistance is the real reason why patterns persist even when you think you've accepted them. What you consciously resist is usually obvious. You know you're fighting your financial situation, your relationship status, your health challenges. But beneath that conscious resistance is something far more powerful. Shadow resistance, the parts of yourself you're resisting, the aspects of your personality you're fighting against, the emotions you're refusing to feel. Here's how this operates. You say you want abundance, but unconsciously, you resist the part of yourself that's ambitious because you were taught that ambition is selfish. You say you want intimate relationship, but unconsciously you resist your own vulnerability because you learned that vulnerability is weakness. You say you want creative expression, but unconsciously you resist being visible because you're terrified of judgment. These shadow resistances are creating your reality more powerfully than anything else because they're unconscious, which means they're broadcasting constantly without your awareness. They're the background frequency that determines what can and cannot enter your field. And here's the paradox within the paradox. You cannot accept in your external reality what you resist in your internal reality. If you resist your own anger, you'll attract angry people. If you resist your own neediness, you'll attract needy relationships. If you resist your own power, you'll create powerless circumstances. The quantum field is a mirror. It doesn't show you what you consciously want. It shows you what you unconsciously are, which is determined by what you're resisting within yourself. I remember when this hit me personally. 7 years ago, I was desperately trying to manifest a romantic relationship. I was doing all the practices, visualizing my ideal partner, working on my vibration, but nothing was working. Relationships would start promisingly and then fall apart in the exact same pattern every time. Then one night, in meditation, I had a recognition that shattered everything. I wasn't actually available for real intimacy. I was resisting my own emotional needs, my own vulnerability, my own deep desire to be truly seen and known. I had this unconscious belief that needing someone was weakness, that being emotionally open was dangerous, that real intimacy would trap me. So, I was broadcasting a split frequency, consciously wanting relationship while unconsciously resisting the very intimacy that makes relationship real. The quantum field was responding perfectly to my actual frequency, not my desired frequency. The pattern would repeat because I was the pattern. The shift happened when I stopped trying to manifest relationship and started accepting the parts of myself I'd been fighting. My need for connection, my fear of abandonment, my desire to be vulnerable, my terror of being trapped. I stopped resisting these aspects of myself. I let them be present without judgment. And within 3 months, without trying, without doing any manifestation practices, I met someone who matched my new frequency, someone I could actually be intimate with because I was no longer resisting intimacy within myself. Practical application 4. The shadow integration process. This is deep work, but it's the work that creates real transformation. Get your journal or note app ready. Step 1. Complete this sentence 3 times. If people really knew this about me, they would judge me as, write whatever comes, even if it seems minor or embarrassing. Examples: weak, selfish, broken, too much, not enough, needy, angry, controlling. Step 2. Look at your 3 answers. These are aspects of yourself you're resisting, and that resistance is broadcasting into your field, creating external circumstances that mirror these internal resistances. Step 3. Choose one aspect from your list. Now complete this sentence. The part of me that is chosen aspect is actually trying to. Example: the part of me that is needy is actually trying to connect, to be seen, to know I matter, to feel safe in relationship. Step 4. Can you accept this part? Not celebrate it, not identify with it completely, but simply accept that it's present without resistance. Say out loud or write, I accept that there is a part of me that is aspect. This part has been here trying to protect me, trying to get needs met, trying to survive. I don't have to like it, but I can accept that it's here. Feel what happens in your body when you say this with genuine acceptance. Most people feel a release, a relaxation, a sense of something that was tight, beginning to soften. Step 5. Practice this acceptance daily. Every time you notice yourself judging this aspect, resisting it, trying to hide it, come back to acceptance. This part is here. It's okay that it's here. I accept its presence. As you dissolve the internal resistance through acceptance, watch how your external reality begins to shift. The patterns that were mirroring your shadow resistance will start to dissolve because you've stopped broadcasting the frequency that was creating them. Chapter 5. The resistance spiral versus the acceptance flow. Now, I want to show you something that will make the entire paradox crystal clear. There are 2 fundamental modes of consciousness operation: the resistance spiral and the acceptance flow. Most people spend their entire lives trapped in the resistance spiral without ever realizing it. The resistance spiral works like this. Something unwanted appears in your reality: financial, stress, health issue, relationship conflict. Your immediate response is resistance. I don't want this. This shouldn't be happening. I need to get rid of this. That resistance creates intense observation of the unwanted thing. You think about it constantly, worry about it, strategize about how to fix it, fear it getting worse. All of that is focused attention. The quantum field responds to your focused attention by collapsing more of the same pattern. The financial stress intensifies. The health issue persists. The relationship conflict escalates. Now you resist even harder. Why is this getting worse? What am I doing wrong? I've tried everything. More intense observation, more emotional charge, more quantum collapse of the unwanted pattern. The spiral continues, going deeper and deeper, creating more and more of what you're resisting, because resistance is creation. You're trapped in a feedback loop where fighting the problem makes the problem stronger, which makes you fight harder, which makes it stronger, which makes you fight harder. This is how people spend decades trapped in patterns they hate, not because they're not trying to change, because they're trying to change through resistance, which is the mechanism that's creating the pattern in the first place. The acceptance flow works completely differently. Something unwanted appears in your reality. Instead of immediate resistance, you pause and recognize, this is what's present right now. I don't have to like it, but I can accept that it's here. That acceptance stops the intense observation. You're no longer feeding the pattern with resistance energy. You're seeing it clearly without emotional charge, without the fear that creates more of it. From this space of acceptance, you naturally begin to feel what action, if any, wants to emerge. Not forced action from desperation, but inspired action from clarity. Maybe you make a phone call. Maybe you have a conversation. Maybe you change a habit. Maybe you simply rest and allow. The action you take from acceptance is qualitatively different from action taken from resistance. It's coherent, clear, effective. It doesn't create more problems while trying to solve the original problem. And here's what happens. The pattern begins to dissolve. Not because you're trying to make it dissolve, that would be resistance, but because you've stopped the observation that was keeping it stable. New possibilities begin to appear that weren't visible from the resistance spiral. Synchronicities occur, resources show up, solutions emerge that you couldn't have forced or figured out. This is the acceptance flow. This is how consciousness operates when it's not trapped in resistance. This is how you create reality from coherence rather than from struggle. Practical application 5. The pattern interrupt. The next time something unwanted appears, anxiety, conflict, obstacle, challenge, I want you to practice this exact sequence. Step 1. Pause. Literally. Stop whatever you're doing. Take 3 deep breaths. This interrupts the automatic resistance response. Step 2. Name what's present. Out loud or silently, state the reality without judgment. There is anxiety in my chest. There is conflict in this conversation. There is an obstacle to what I planned. Just name it clearly. Step 3. Check for resistance. Notice if you're fighting what's present. Are you thinking, this shouldn't be happening? Are you feeling, I need to fix this immediately? That's resistance. Just notice it without judging the resistance itself. Step 4. Choose acceptance. Say internally or out loud, this is what's present right now. I accept that this is here. I don't have to like it. I accept that this is what is. Step 5. Feel the shift. Notice what happens in your body when you genuinely accept. Usually there's a softening, a release, a sense of space opening up. Step 6. Listen for guidance. From this space of acceptance, ask, what wants to happen here? Or, what's the next right action? Don't force an answer, just listen. Often, clear guidance emerges naturally. Step 7. Act from flow. If action arises naturally, take it. If no action arises, rest in acceptance until clarity comes. Practice this pattern interrupt consistently for 30 days. You're literally rewiring your consciousness from resistance spiral to acceptance flow. You're training yourself to create from coherence rather than from struggle. Chapter 6. The Timeline Collapse. Now we need to talk about something that sounds like science fiction, but is actually quantum mechanics. Timeline collapse. This is where the paradox becomes practical power. In quantum physics, specifically in the many worlds interpretation, every possible outcome exists simultaneously as a probability wave. Your consciousness, through observation, collapses one specific timeline into experience, while the others remain as unrealized potential. Here's what this means for your life. There's a timeline where you're financially abundant. There's a timeline where you're in a beautiful relationship. There's a timeline where you're healthy, creative, fulfilled. These aren't fantasies or future possibilities, they exist right now as probability patterns in the quantum field. The question is, which timeline is your consciousness collapsed into? And the answer is, the one you're observing most consistently with the most emotional charge. If you're resisting financial struggle, you're observing the struggle timeline with intense focus and emotional energy. That's the timeline that remains collapsed into your experience. The abundance timeline remains an unrealized probability because you're not observing it, you're observing its opposite. But here's the revolutionary part. When you accept the struggle, stop resisting it, you release your consciousness from that timeline. And when you embody abundance, become its frequency, you collapse into the abundance timeline. This isn't visualization. This isn't affirmation. This is quantum timeline jumping through consciousness coherence. Let me show you exactly how this works. Right now, you exist in a superposition of timelines. Part of your consciousness is observing the current reality. Let's call it timeline A. Another part is anxiously focused on avoiding a worse reality, timeline B. Another part is hopefully visualizing a better reality, timeline C. This split observation creates quantum static. You're partially collapsed into multiple timelines simultaneously, which means none of them can fully manifest. You're experiencing a murky blend of all of them, which usually looks like things are okay but not great, improving but not transforming. Timeline collapse happens when you bring all of your consciousness into one coherent observation. You stop resisting timeline A, which releases your observation from it. You stop fearing timeline B, which stops creating it through fear. And you fully embody timeline C, which collapses you completely into it. The practical process looks like this. Current reality, timeline A, accept completely without resistance. Feared reality, timeline B, recognize it's not happening now. Release the fear. Desired reality, timeline C, embody its frequency now. Become what it feels like. When all three of these happen simultaneously, a quantum jump occurs. Your consciousness shifts from one timeline to another. Not gradually, but suddenly. Not through time, but through frequency shift. I've experienced this personally multiple times, and each time it feels the same. Reality reorganizes almost overnight. Circumstances that seemed solid suddenly become fluid. Obstacles that seemed permanent suddenly dissolve. Opportunities that were invisible suddenly become obvious. This isn't magic. This is consciousness operating according to its actual nature rather than according to the limiting beliefs we've been taught. Practical Application 6. The Timeline Jumping Practice. This is advanced work. Don't rush it. Take your time with each step. Step 1. Define your 3 timelines. Timeline A. Current. Write one sentence describing where you actually are, right now. Be honest. No resistance, no judgment, just what is. Timeline B. Feared. Write one sentence describing what you're afraid might happen if things get worse. Timeline C. Desired. Write one sentence describing the reality you want to experience. Step 2. Release Timeline A through acceptance. Read your Timeline A sentence. Now complete this. I accept that this is currently true. I don't have to like it. I accept that this is what is present now. Feel the release that happens when you truly accept instead of resist. Step 3. Dissolve Timeline B through recognition. Read your Timeline B sentence. Now recognize, this feared reality is not happening now. It's a potential I'm creating through fear. I release the fear. I release the observation of this timeline. Literally, imagine cutting an energetic cord between your consciousness and this feared timeline. Step 4. Collapse into timeline C through embodiment. Read your timeline C sentence. Don't visualize it. Don't affirm it. Instead ask, what does this timeline feel like in my body? Generate that feeling now. If timeline C is abundant, feel abundance in your cells. If it's loving relationship, feel loved in your heart. If it's creative expression, feel creatively alive in your energy. Step 5. Lock in the new timeline. With the feeling of timeline C alive in your body, declare, this is what I am now. This is the timeline I choose. This is the frequency I broadcast. Step 6. Live from timeline C. For the next 24 hours, every decision you make it from timeline C. Ask before each choice, what would someone living in timeline C do here? Not, what would I do to get to timeline C? But, what would I do if I'm already in timeline C? This is how you collapse into new timelines. You become the frequency of the timeline you want through embodiment, while accepting the current timeline without resistance and releasing the feared timeline without feeding it energy. Chapter 7. The Cosmic Reset. There's one more layer to this paradox that changes everything, that makes all of this not just practical, but profound. And it's this. The ultimate acceptance is accepting yourself as the creator. Most people are resisting this truth more powerfully than they're resisting anything else in their lives. They'll accept that consciousness creates reality in theory, but they resist it in practice, because accepting it means accepting responsibility, accepting power, accepting that you're not a victim of circumstances but the creator of them. This is the deepest resistance, and it's the one that keeps every other pattern in place. As long as you resist being the creator, you'll unconsciously create through resistance while consciously trying to create through intention. You'll be split, incoherent, broadcasting contradictory frequencies. But when you accept that you are the creator, not through ego, not through pride, but through simple recognition of what consciousness is, everything shifts at the foundational level. You stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, how am I creating this? You stop looking for external solutions and start recognizing internal frequency patterns. You stop waiting for permission and start giving yourself permission. You stop hoping reality will change and start changing the consciousness that's creating reality. This acceptance that you are the creator dissolves victim consciousness completely. And victim consciousness is the root resistance pattern that keeps all other patterns active. Practical Application 7. The Creator Declaration. This is the final practice, the one that integrates everything. Do this when you're ready, when you can truly mean it. Step 1. Acknowledge the pattern. Choose any persistent pattern in your life. Complete this sentence. The pattern I keep experiencing is. Step 2. Accept creator responsibility. Now complete this. I am creating this pattern through resistance, belief, fear, unconscious frequency. Be specific. This isn't self-blame. This is self-recognition. You're acknowledging your power. Step 3. Release the resistance. I accept that I have been creating this pattern. I don't have to judge myself for it. I accept that this is what I've been doing. Step 4. Declare new creation. I now choose to create. Describe the experience you actually want. Step 5. Embody creator frequency. Feel what it's like to be someone who consciously creates their reality. Not controlling everything, but coherently broadcasting clear frequencies that the quantum field responds to. Step 6. Live as creator. For the next 7 days, before every decision, every conversation, every choice, ask yourself, what am I creating with this? What frequency am I broadcasting? Is this coherent with what I want to experience? This is how you step into conscious creation. This is how you stop creating through resistance and start creating through coherence. Conclusion. The integration. Everything I've shared with you isn't just information. It's activation. Your consciousness has been recognizing itself throughout this transmission. You've been feeling the truth of the paradox. What you resist creates you. What you accept dissolves you. But knowing this intellectually doesn't change anything. Integration is what creates transformation. And integration happens through practice, through consistent application, through choosing acceptance over resistance, in every moment where you notice the pattern arising. So here's what I want you to do right now, in this moment. First, write in the comments one thing you're ready to stop resisting. Not the whole story, just one sentence. I'm ready to stop resisting specific thing. This declaration sends a signal to your consciousness and to the quantum field that you're choosing. Acceptance over resistance. It's an energetic commitment. Second, choose one practice from this transmission, just one, and commit to doing it daily for the next 30 days. Not all of them, just one. Master one before moving to the next. Maybe it's the resistance inventory. Maybe it's the dissolution practice. Maybe it's the timeline jumping practice. Choose the one that resonated most deeply and make it your daily practice. Third, subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Not just for more content, but because subscribing is an energetic anchor. It keeps you connected to this frequency of conscious creation, keeps these principles active in your field, ensures you receive the next transmission when your consciousness is ready for the next level. Fourth, share this with someone who needs it. You know who they are. That friend who's been struggling with the same pattern for years. That family member who's been fighting against their circumstances. That colleague who's ready to understand why resistance isn't working. When you share this, you're not just spreading information. You're activating the morphic field of conscious creation. You're helping other consciousnesses recognize the paradox. And every person who shifts from resistance to acceptance makes it easier for everyone else to make that shift. The paradox is simple but not easy. What you resist creates you. What you accept dissolves you. Fighting your problems makes them stronger. Accepting your problems while embodying your solutions makes them dissolve. You are not a victim of your circumstances. You are the consciousness that's creating your circumstances through the quality of your observation, through the frequency you're broadcasting, through the patterns you're resisting or accepting. This moment, right now, is a quantum choice point. You can close this video and return to the resistance spiral, continuing to create through struggle. Or you can choose the acceptance flow, learning to create through coherence. The quantum field is waiting for your choice. Your higher self is waiting for your choice. Your future timeline is waiting for your choice. What you resist creates you. What you accept dissolves you. What you embody becomes you. Choose acceptance. Choose embodiment. Choose conscious creation. The paradox is the path. And the path has been waiting for you to recognize it. Welcome to the frequency of conscious creation. Welcome to the dissolution of resistance. Welcome to the recognition that you are not the victim of the paradox, you are the paradox itself. Consciousness, exploring itself through the beautiful dance of resistance and acceptance, creation and dissolution, separation and unity. The transmission is complete. The activation has occurred. What happens next is entirely up to you.